Minister for Communications and Information and Minister in charge of Smart Nation and Cybersecurity, Mrs. Josephine Teo. ASEAN representatives, ASEAN Secretary General, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, a very good afternoon to you and welcome to the 6th ASEAN Ministerial Conference on Cybersecurity, or AMCC for short. I'm Stephanie Bovis and I'm so happy to be here with you as your MC for this event. First held in 2016, the AMCC continues to bring together all ASEAN member states and ASEAN dialogue partner countries for frank and cross-cutting discussions on cybersecurity cooperation. We're so pleased to have you with us here today. May I now invite Minister Josephine Teo to make her opening speech. Minister Teo, please.
Your Excellencies, Secretary General of ASEAN, Dato Lim Jock Hoi, senior officials, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 6th ASEAN Ministerial Conference on Cybersecurity, or AMCC. This is my first AMCC since assuming my new portfolio as Minister responsible for cybersecurity in Singapore. I'm pleased to meet my ASEAN colleagues virtually today and hope to meet all of you in person when the COVID-19 situation permits. The digital domain is increasingly driving every aspect of our lives, be it work, study, or just connecting with people. The outage of Facebook, WhatsApp, and Instagram only 2 days ago, and the disruption it caused around the world demonstrates our reliance on digital services and the importance of safeguarding the resilience of networks. The attendance by all ASEAN member states today highlights the importance we all place on one key aspect of resilience, which is cybersecurity. It is also a demonstration of our strong commitment to the ASEAN theme this year under Brunei's chairmanship. We care, we prepare, we prosper. And strengthening our collective cybersecurity is more important now than ever. Over the past year, we have seen a step change in the cyber threat landscape. Supply chain and ransomware attacks are increasing in frequency, scale, and impact. Just to name a few, we saw how the SolarWinds breach affected close to 18,000 customers in December 2020, how the Colonial Pipeline attack in May had serious real-world consequences in the US, and how the Kaseya VSA breach in July forced Swedish co-op supermarkets to close, more than 800 of them. These examples show the importance of strengthening our cybersecurity. They also highlight the need for international cooperation to build consensus on the rules, norms, principles, and standards governing cyberspace. Such efforts will help to ensure that states behave responsibly in their use of information and communications technologies, so that we can achieve an open, secure, and interoperable ICT environment. In doing so, we can also strengthen the rules-based multilateral order. Like other ASEAN member states, Singapore welcomes the successful conclusion of 2 UN processes this year: the Open-Ended Working Group, or OEWG, and the Group of Governmental Experts, the GGE. These processes have contributed to the rules-based order, which we all benefit from. Many ASEAN member states participated actively. ASEAN itself played 2 critical roles in these UN discussions. First, ASEAN helped to bring the concerns of ASEAN member states to the UN. One example is the issue of cross-border critical information infrastructure. Such CIIs are owned by private companies and provide essential services to many countries across national borders. ASEAN member states collectively agreed at the AMCC last year that we needed to strengthen the protection of such a CII. This topic was then raised at the OEWG and the GGE. Both have since recognized the importance of raising the cybersecurity posture of cross-border CII. Second, ASEAN has adapted the UN's recommendations to our unique operating environment. ASEAN is the first and to date the only regional organization that has subscribed in principle to the 11 voluntary, non-binding norms of responsible state behavior in cyberspace. This is anchored by our belief in implementing the international cyber stability framework within our region. We are making further progress through the development of the ASEAN Regional Action Plan, which will guide regional norms implementation. To this end, Malaysia and Singapore recently organized a workshop with our ASEAN colleagues. I look forward to the endorsement of the Regional Action Plan at the ASEAN Digital Ministers meeting in December. However, malicious cyber threat actors continue to enhance their modus operandi to bypass our defenses, and we cannot afford to lose momentum. This entails ASEAN member states working together on 3 tracks. First, cyber strategy. Second, cyber ops tech collaboration. And third, cyber capacity building. First, on cyber strategy. The first ASEAN cybersecurity cooperation strategy from 2017 to 2020 provided a roadmap for regional cooperation to achieve a safe and secure ASEAN cyberspace. Since its adoption, we have seen much progress in policy coordination and incident response as one ASEAN. It is timely to update the strategy for the next bound to address evolving challenges. Singapore is happy to take the lead, and we will discuss this as one of the agenda items later. The updated strategy places stronger focus on initiatives to support the establishment of the rules-based order in cyberspace and ASEAN's Digital Master Plan 2025. This involves moving forward on 5 action-oriented aspects: advancing cyber readiness cooperation, strengthening regional cyber policy coordination, enhancing trust in cyberspace, enhancing regional capacity building, and strengthening international cooperation. We hope for all ASEAN member states' support of the updated strategy. Second, let me talk about cyber ops tech collaboration. The recent global supply chain attacks have shown that the compromise of trusted software can affect many users downstream. Swift and timely sharing of threat information is essential so that we can gain a head start to mitigate the cyber attacks. We are establishing the ASEAN CERT and the ASEAN CERT Information Exchange Mechanism for precisely this purpose. These build on our existing partnerships and trust accrued over the years. The initiatives will strengthen our region's resilience against cyber threats. Another way to safeguard our systems and networks against cyber attacks is through technical standards development and implementation. Often, we are forced into a reactive position when dealing with cyber incidents. In fact, we would rather be proactive on cybersecurity by making our systems, networks, and devices secure by design. This involves working with countries and the private sector to develop and implement technical, objective cybersecurity standards in technologies like 5G and IoT. For example, Singapore launched the Cybersecurity Labeling Scheme for IoT devices last year. The scheme allows consumers to easily identify the level of cybersecurity of IoT devices and encourages them to buy devices that are labeled as more secure. ASEAN member states can collectively raise the cyber hygiene level in our region by working towards a common baseline cybersecurity standard for IoT devices. Singapore would be happy to facilitate this conversation. Third, cyber capacity building. This is a priority for the region as capacity building is the bedrock supporting states towards the implementation of the norms of responsible state behavior in cyberspace. At the 4th AMCC in 2019, we launched the ASEAN-Singapore Cybersecurity Center of Excellence to support cyber capacity building efforts in the region. I'm pleased to announce today the official opening of the ASCCE campus, which we will later have the pleasure of virtually opening, and all of us as ASEAN ministers joining in this occasion. This Centre of Excellence adopts a coordinated regional effort to deliver capacity building programs for ASEAN senior officials through a 4M approach. And these 4M are multidisciplinary, multi-stakeholder, modular, and measurable. I look forward to the support from ASEAN member states, our dialogue partners, industry, academia, and international organizations as we gradually resume in-person programs at the center. A core focus of our capacity building efforts is to take a regional approach. We aim to share experiences most relevant to our region and to establish a strong network of cyber officials in ASEAN. To this end, we will launch the ASEAN-Singapore Cybersecurity Center of Excellence LinkedIn account to facilitate better communication and information sharing amongst the ASCCE alumni and partners. However, let me say again, as all of us already know, cybersecurity is not just a regional issue. It is a global issue. Come December, the new 5-year UN OEWG on security of and in the use of ICTs will commence. We are honored that it will be chaired by Singapore's permanent representative to the UN, Ambassador Burhan Ghaffur. I thank ASEAN member states for your support of the chair's election earlier this year. The OEWG will build on the strong foundation of the OEWG and the GGE consensus reports and work on deeper discussions of key cyber issues. As we embark on the next tranche of UN cyber discussions, I encourage ASEAN member states to actively contribute to the cyber stability framework and collectively identify key issues of regional interest to value add to the UN conversation. As chair of the OEWG, Singapore looks forward to your support. We are keen to hear your candid views and work with you to move the discussion towards our shared objective of a secure, resilient, and interoperable cyberspace, not just regionally, but also globally. This is how we can continue to show the world the strength of ASEAN's unity and that we care, we prepare, we prosper. Thank you, and I look forward to your active participation at the AMCC.
Thank you, Minister Teo. May I now invite ASEAN Secretary General, Dato Lim Jok Hoi, to deliver his opening remarks. Your Excellency, please.
Excellency, Madam Chair, Josephine Teo, Minister of Communication and Information of Singapore, Excellency, ASEAN Minister of Information, distinguished participants. First of all, allow me to congratulate Singapore for convening this conference amidst the challenges and difficulties posed by the COVID-19. It is my pleasure to participate in the 6th ASEAN Ministerial Conference on Cybersecurity. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, digital transformation has changed the landscape of our economic and social activities. The COVID-19 pandemic, digital transformations have been further accelerated at the unprecedented pace. ASEAN, whether it is ready or not, must embrace digital transformation to maximize its benefits. Towards the goal of building an integrated digital community, ASEAN adopted the ASEAN Digital Master Plan 2021-2025 in January 2021. Following this, 2 initiatives have been endorsed by the recent 53rd ASEAN Economic Ministers meeting in September 2021. First, the work of the implementation of ASEAN Agreement on E-commerce 2021-2025, which provides detailed guide in setting up a harmonized regulatory foundation for the region-wide digital ecosystem. Second, the Bandar Seri Begawan Roadmap and ASEAN Digital Transformation Agenda to accelerate ASEAN economic recovery and digital economy integration provides a visionary direction to accelerate ASEAN pandemic recovery efforts while laying the groundwork for negotiating the ASEAN Digital Economy Framework Agreement in 2025. While the increasing reliance on the internet comes, our community exposure to security threat that can cause massive damage. Cyber attacks such as data breach, ransomware, distributed denial of services, business email compromise, and phishing have disrupted business operation, people life, and stability of ASEAN country during COVID-19. There is an increasing evidence that cybercrime and threats are becoming more widespread in ASEAN. They target various industries, especially critical infrastructure such as oil, energy, and e-commerce sector. Without resolute action by ASEAN, these challenges will significantly undermine resilience and trust in ASEAN digital economy and prevent the region from realizing its full potential. Excellency, distinguished participants, allow me then to highlight several key approaches to effectively enhance our regional cybersecurity. First is to strengthen partnership among national computer emergency response teams, CERT, of ASEAN to build a mutual trust within ASEAN in dealing with cybersecurity incidents. Towards this end, the establishment of the ASEAN Regional CERT could offer an effective platform to assist and improve ASEAN knowledge and capacity in order to respond to ICT incidents and mitigate impacts or potential spread of cyber attacks across the region. Second is the implementation of the norms of responsible states behavior in cyberspace developed by United Nations Group of Government Experts, UNGG. Capacity building, trust, and building an open dialogue with stakeholders shall be determinants to its success. Moreover, this illustrates ASEAN's unwavering commitment to a peaceful, secure, and resilient rule-based cyberspace to contribute into economic and social advancement. Third is to support the development of a coherent regulatory framework and policy on cybersecurity in ASEAN. This could be done by 1. Enhancing cybersecurity readiness using ASEAN Cybersecurity Maturity Assessment Framework. 2. Promoting trust in cyberspace through the implementation of the ASEAN Critical Information Infrastructure, CII, protection framework to reinforce the protection of CII that serve as a backbone to regional communication, threats, and supply chain. And third, undertaking inclusive policy dialogue with stakeholders, especially external partners of ASEAN and the private sector. Fourth is to encourage interoperability across ASEAN based on international cybersecurity standards and best practices to support secure and trusted use of digital security technologies as part of a long-term strategy of developing an ASEAN integrated digital economy. Fifth is to strengthen capacity building cooperation as a core process underpinning the robustness, responsiveness, and resilience of ASEAN cybersecurity posture. ASEAN member states should adopt a common and holistic approach to building national capacity for technical to political and regional level, taking into account specific level of readiness among ASEAN member states. In this process, the active participation and support of external partners and private sector would be most useful. Excellencies, distinguished participants, the pandemic has been a wake-up call for ASEAN to invest in cybersecurity in a more coordinated manner. Since cybersecurity is cross-cutting, addressing cybersecurity challenges require a coordinated approach from multiple stakeholders across different sector domains. Establishment of the ASEAN Cybersecurity Coordinating Committee, which is a widely welcome move, should play a larger role in promoting ASEAN cybersecurity coordination efforts. As cybersecurity is a global issue, ASEAN shall collaborate with international community to substantially contribute our part into developing a rule-based cyberspace regards to cybersecurity so as to advance regional interests at the international fora. Last but not least, I wish to thank Singapore for the strong leadership in coordinating efforts of ASEAN in cybersecurity cooperation. Thank you. Wish you all the best. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency. This year, CSA is proud to officially open the ASEAN Singapore Cybersecurity Center of Excellence, or ASCCE. Chief Executive Mr. David Koh had the privilege to host the ambassadors from our ASEAN member states and dialogue partners yesterday at the ASCCE campus. Please sit back and enjoy their video from their visit.
As cyber threats continue to evolve rapidly, cyber capacity building is important to raise our collective cyber policy and incident response capabilities. This will help us to maintain a secure and resilient regional cyberspace that will support our digital way of life.
We know that cyber attack can happen to any businesses, finance, critical infrastructure, and so on and so forth. So capacity building will be helpful for all countries in this region to mitigate and respond to cyber attack.
The ASEAN Singapore Cybersecurity Center of Excellence, ASCCE, was launched in 2019 as an extension of the ASEAN Cyber Capacity Program, ACCP, to support a coordinated build-up of cyber policy, operational, and technical capacities in the region. To date, the ASCCE has conducted more than 30 programs with a strong network of over 40 partners from governments, NGOs, the private sector, and academia. These programs have reached over 900 senior government officials from ASEAN and beyond.
ASCCE has been instrumental to foster cooperation and to also provide relevant capacity building to Southeast Asia countries and for this region and beyond.
The 720 square meter ASCCE campus is conveniently located in the city centre. Its programs are developed in line with the 4M principles and serve to support the ASCCE's core functions. First, to provide training on national cyber policies, strategy, legislation, and cyber norms. Second, to provide training to computer emergency response teams, CERT. And third, in partnership with Temasek Polytechnic, to provide a cyber range which will deliver virtual cyber defense training and exercise to all participants. The ASCCE will offer a mix of programs for in-person and online learning to continue capacity building efforts to strengthen and secure our digital domain in a post-COVID environment.
Regardless of whether the courses are held online or in person, the ASCCE strives to work together with our partners to deliver programs that are sustainable and politically neutral so as to effectively address the needs of our region.
The ASCCE will continue to work with partners to support regional capacity building efforts for a safer and more resilient cyber and digital domain.
The European Union and ASEAN and Singapore are cooperating on cybersecurity very closely. The European Union and ASEAN are strategic partners since last year, and we are very glad about this. There is a clear need to fill in this strategic partnership with substance, and today's visit to this excellent center is a proof of that.
The ASCCE is committed to support coordinated capacity building efforts and to facilitate collaboration and partnerships to ensure that we have strong capabilities to collectively respond to cyber threats and support the establishment of a rules-based order in cyberspace.
I would now like to invite Minister Teo to lead the virtual countdown, together with our ASEAN representatives, to open the ASCCE campus. May I ask that all of our excellencies do have their cameras switched on. Minister Teo, please do the honors of officiating the opening ceremony by using the gesture of your right hand to count down from 5. Your excellencies, are you ready? We count down from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ceremony. If you've been invited to the next session, AMCC special session, please please do check out the agenda to find out more information, as we will be coming back at 3 p.m. Singapore time. Thank you all so much, and we'll see you then.